Whenever we see something awful being reported on the local news, like a murder or a kidnapping, we often become very upset. It shocks us, and the initial question that we ask ourselves is, what would make a person commit this type of crime? Ever wonder if genetics affected the likelihood of people becoming criminals? It's unlikely that a person simply decides one day that they would like to become a criminal. The structure of DNA is a double helix, which looks like a spiral ladder. DNA, otherwise known as deoxyribonucleic acid, is a self-replicating material that is present in nearly all living organisms as the main constituent of chromosomes. It is a carrier of all genetic information and makes you who you are. The nitrogenous bases with double rings are called purines, and they combine with nitrogenous bases with single rings called pyrimidines. That would mean that A always pairs with T and G always pairs with C. Each individual unit of DNA is composed of nucleotides. Nucleotides are combinations of deoxyribose, sugars, phosphates, and nitrogenous bases. There is an estimated 3 billion pairs of nucleotides that make up a DNA of a person. Our DNA is inherited from our families. We can either be carriers of a genetic trait, like the warrior gene, or not. The likelihood of inheriting specific traits can be tracked using a pedigree chart. These charts trace the chance of genetic characteristics that may be passed on from older generations to younger ones. Now, to answer your question, if becoming a criminal does have something to do with your genetics or not, you start with a gene called MAOA, which lies in our X chromosome. This gene produces an enzyme called monoamine oxidase A. People without this gene are related to aggressive behavior. The more common type of the gene found in people are a low-activity variant of the same gene, which is called the MAOA-L. So basically, those who contain the MAOA genes are shown to be less violent than those who have an MAOA-L variant. The first brain scan shown would be an example of a brain scan with someone who has the MAOA gene, also known as a normal brain scan. The second one being shown is a scan of someone who would contain the variant of MAOA-L. This shows to be more of a criminal activity brain. MAOA was the first candidate gene to be linked to antisocial behavior, identified in 1993 in a large Dutch family that was notorious for violence. It has been a media favorite ever since acquiring the nickname the warrior gene in 2004 as a result of an article in the Science of All Places. The most recent appearance of the warrior gene is in a paper called Molecular Psychiatry. This shows that Finnish criminals convicted of several violent crimes frequently possessed either MAOA-L or a mutant version of another gene, CDH13, while the nonviolent controls did not. CDH13 is involved in signaling between cells, but we focus more on MAOA-L because there is more scientific proof towards that one. Although research has found that MAOA has been linked to aggressive behavior, they also know that there are other factors we must consider, such as environmental factors. A particularly strong connection has been noted among abuse in childhood. When children are abused, they are more likely to result in aggressive behavior in their adulthood. Another strong connection to criminal behavior is substance abuse. Those who abuse substances, such as drugs and alcohol, are shown to act out in a more aggressive manner. Scientists propose that is because intoxicants interact with MAOA-L and affect brain neurotransmitters which produce impulsive aggression, causing them to act out. Although no science has confirmed 100% that our genes are linked to criminal behavior, there are definitely some factors that are in our genes which allow us to act in a more antisocial and aggressive behavior, like the MAOA-L warrior gene. Thank you for listening to Simply Science with Hannah and Tass.